Right, so we'll resume. There's some problem with the internet just now. Right, so the key issue here is that Nicholas, right, he's following the benchmark, right? He's following the benchmark. Okay, so even though the client has suffered severe losses, right, and the client complained, it's not a valid complaint, right? So the key issue here is that, right, Nicholas must have the records, must be keeping the records. Okay, so the records are very important, right? And you must show that you have maintained 35%, as in the IPS, right? And now actually this is the appropriate ratio, in the tech sector. Okay, so the key issue here is that if Nicholas has kept the appropriate records, right? They show that I mean especially the IPS, right? They show that the client already agreed to have this 35% investment. Then he has not violated 5C, right? Even though the client has suffered severe losses and even though the client is complaining. Okay. Right. So record retention, right, is important, and the IPS objective and recommendation, right? So these should be in the IPS. Okay. As he violated, no, right? Because right. So Lindstrom must have the appropriate record. Period. All right. And right. So in the records, right, you must also have the IPS. Stating this benchmark. Right. The benchmark was appropriate for the client's investment objective at the time. Right. Right. I also should also have the records, right? Okay. The record to show that the investment has been explained appropriately to the client, right? And that the IPS was updated on a regular basis, right? So this part is very important here, right? Okay, this part is very important. He must have done all this, right? Having done all this, right, and including this, right, then he's in compliance with 5C. Okay, Malcolm Young is a research analyst who writes numerous reports, right, rating companies in the luxury retail industry. His reports are based on a variety of sources, including interviews with company management, manufacturers, and economists, on-site visits, customer surveys, and secondary research from analysts covering related industries. Right. So the key issue here is also maintenance of records, right? Okay. So now, so his reports, right, are based on so many sources, right? All these sources, right? So he must, as long as he keep records, right, of all these sources, then he is in compliance with 5C. Okay. All right. So record retention and the research process. This is the issue here. Has he violated? Right. So as long as he has done all this, right, carefully document and keep copies, right, of all the information that goes in the report, he has not he won't be violating. But if he fails, right, if he fails to maintain, then he will violate. Cha Chow you just hang on. There you go, Cha Chow I didn't see you. right? So as long as he keep records, then he is safe. All right. Right. Martin Blank develops an analytical model while employed by Grosse Pointe. Right. While at the firm, he systematically documents the assumptions that make up the model as well as right. This is S, right, as well as his reasoning for the assumptions. As a result of the success of his model, Blank is hired to be the head of the research department of one of GPIM's competitors. Right, Blank takes copies of the record supporting his model to his new firm. Right, so now the all these records, right, are the property, in a few slides earlier, right, are the property of the old firm. Right, so he just take it, to his new firm. Right, so now he can take the record, but with permission. Right, with permission. Okay, now he goes to one of the competitor, right, the new firm. Right, so if you take it with permission, then it's okay. Without permission, not okay. All right. So the records as the firm's property, not the employee's property, as firm property, right? It belongs to the firm. Okay. Now, has it violated? Yes, right, because right, it belongs to the old firm. All right. Right. So you must have permission. No permission, you're in violation. Right. So now the record retention part, should continue at his new firm. Right. So at new firm, he must recreate a record supporting his model, right, at the new firm. All right. So how he got it, right, is from the old firm. So he must recreate the records. Any question regarding this? Lecture 8. Now I will talk about your tutorial 4.2. I'll just go over quickly. Right. So this is the tutorial 4.2, right? Right. Tutorial 4.2. Now there's a few points, you all should pay attention. Now when I ask you to discuss the case, right, so if you just reiterate the facts without any interpretation, right, if you just state the facts in another way without any interpretation, you don't get any marks. Right, so you don't just blindly just some of you just copy sentences from here, but without interpretation. All right, so I hope you understand what I'm saying. Right. So now, like for instance, right? Right now here she hastily downloads. Okay. Now if you quote here if you quote right here from here, right? If you quote this statement, right? The fact that she hastily download, right? So basically, if you state this statement, yeah, you try to interpret what she's doing, right? So basically here, you should say that she has no ill intention. Her intention is bona fide, right? And merely is to thank her clients, right? So basically, you should interpret her intention here, right? She has no mala fide intention, no ulterior motive. Okay, right? She's not using this list to benefit herself and her new firm, right? So basically, she's just trying to benefit, to protect the interests of her clients at DeBono. That's all, right? So you should state clearly that, not right, and not just copy the facts here and then put it in without interpretation. Okay, you get my point? All right. So now, right. So this is a sample answer, right? So basically, I've stated the gist of 4A, right? So you can see how I word it, right? So you must interpret, right? So what is the intention, right? So it's about her intention. Intention is very important. So Carol's intention in doing all this blah 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 blah, right? Right. So she's actually trying to do all this, right? So she's actually trying to do all this bona fide thing. Sorry, my cursor is not working. Right. So her intention is bona fide, in good faith, right? So she's merely trying to do all this, right? So what I'm saying is that you must do some interpretation, not just copy blindly. All right. Okay. So yeah, this is from the passage, but I'm interpreting the passage, right? Intention, right? So intention, right? Bona fide. So, and I try to emphasize, right? No ulterior motive to use this list, right? And right is actually working with DeBono to protect the interests of her former clients, right? To make them feel comfortable in continuing the use of DeBono as their financial advisor. You see how I do it, right? So these two statements are linked, right? So again, under loyalty to employer, right? Client list. This is very important, right? Is a property of the author, right? Because it contains proprietary confidential information, right? Now, right? So now here, I'm saying that even though her intention is bona fide, all right, she is still improperly using it for her own purpose, right? Even though, right, her purpose are benign, right? Benign, because it is actually bona fide, in good faith, not mala fide, right? Her intention are benign, okay? Because this is what she actually planned to do. Okay, so lastly, right, she may contact through public channels, right? Okay, through personal channels, right? But right, she cannot use the list, right? The client list here, stated here, right? She cannot use, so the client list is DeBono's property to facilitate this communication, right? You see how it is being argued out, right? So now if she really wants it, right, then permission. She must get permission, right? If she really wants it, right, she could ask for permission, right? Permission to take the clients, you must get permission. So the fact that she did not get permission, however benign her motives are, she has still violated, right? She has still violated, right? Because she just copied the client list, right, without permission, right? Without permission, okay? And taking it with her. So now you must compare your answer with my answer, right? To see whether, the difference in how the issues are being articulated, right? So you can see how the issues are being articulated is a bit different from some of your answers. All right, so I suggest you rewrite your answer again. It doesn't matter. You can rewrite your answer 4 or 5 times, doesn't matter, right? So I believe the practice is good, So now when you rewrite your answer, rewrite it without looking at anything, without even looking at my answer, even without looking at your own answer, right? You look at the case again, right? Look at the case again, and then you may refer to my lecture notes, right? Now, don't look at this, don't look at my answer, right? Just rewrite it, right? Now, so you know the points, right, that you have missed out on, right? So, and you probably know, this is a better way to express your interpretation. Okay, this is just so I suggest you just practice again. All right. Now, the other case, Emilio, right? Right. So this case is about additional compensation arrangement, right? So how do you deal with that? All right. So the other, yeah. So written consent is a must. Okay. Written consent is a must, right? And this bonus, right? Emilio is maybe subject to a bonus, right? He could be receiving a bonus because he was helping them to select the stocks, right? Right. So this separate bonus, right, is the additional compensation arrangements we are talking about. Right. So now, this separate bonus is not illegal. It's not automatically illegal. It's not automatically unethical. Right. Now, it may not compromise his independence and objectivity. Right. But this separate bonus, right, represents a potential conflict of interest. Right. It could it's just a potential conflict of interest. So again, right, this separate bonus should be disclosed to BIR, to his boss. Full disclosure of this additional compensation arrangement must be disclosed. Right. So as long as you make full disclosure, then it's okay. Right. Okay. So as I said, this separate bonus is not altogether unethical. Right. So now to structure your answer, this is a sample answer. Right. I'll state the essence, right? Now, you see how I word it, right? Now, he may not receive it, right? So he stand to gain, right? He stand to receive a benefit, right, of this additional compensation arrangement, right? If their companies are selected, right? So now you must make it clear, this kind of bonus payment is not totally unethical. So it's not automatically unethical, right? Because it may not automatically compromise his independence and objectivity. Okay, this is how I word it. Right now, however, right, as Emilio is involved in the process of selecting the companies, right, he's in the process of selecting the companies that BR agrees to research. This bonus payment represents a potential conflict of interest. It's just a potential, right? Because he might not will, right, might favor those companies, right? He might favor. So this is a potential conflict of interest. Therefore, right, you must make full disclosure, right? As such, full disclosure of any conflict of interest, right, on his part to his employer or his company is absolutely necessary. Why? Right, I use a conjunction here because not only is he instrumental in selecting the companies for research, right? You look at the passage, right? He is also overseeing a team of junior analysts conducted. This is from the passage. You see, when I say, talk about the passage, this is how I use words from the passage. Okay. All right. So thus, in accordance with 5B, right, Emilio would have to make full disclosure to his company that he's receiving the benefit from the issuer, right? His actions will be acceptable as long as his company approves, right, the offered payment from the covered companies. All right, you see how I do it? Right, now, I've seen 11 of your answers. I suggest again, right, you try to understand and internalize the flow of my argument here, right, and rewrite your answer. Rewrite your answer, please. You do this, I think you will pass. If you don't do this, I think you will fail because a lot of your answers, right, I mean, the flow of argument, is not good. And not to say, not to mention your grammar. All right, so I've already talked about case 3 last lecture. Right, responsibilities of supervisors, I already talked about this. And some of you rewrote this. It's pretty good, yeah, quite good. I saw your answers, but still, I think there's some gaps missing. You check on this answer. You check with my answer. Only after you rewrite on a blank piece of paper. All right, you have any other question? Any other question? Any question? Hello, any questions? If no questions, we'll call it a day. We're having 1 hour today. Any questions? Right, thank you, Chin DC. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.